buongiorno, sono di nuovo io, Valentina, coordinatrice editoriale di Speak Up e vi do il benvenuto a una nuova chiacchierata delle nostre Quarantine Talks. E come vi dicevo prima, dato che ci siamo collegate brevemente con la nostra ospite, oggi parleremo con Alex Phillips, nostra collaboratrice storica di Speak Up, che sicuramente conoscerete perché scrive la maggior parte degli articoli che poi leggete ogni mese. E quindi avevamo il piacere di presentarvela e di chiacchierare con lei, soprattutto per farvi partecipare, per ascoltare anche le vostre domande al riguardo sul suo lavoro. Dunque, vediamo se si è collegata, così iniziamo subito. Vediamo se c'è Alex. No, ancora no, aspettiamo un attimino. Intanto, ecco, se avete già delle domande da rivolgerci, dei dubbi, potete scriverle qui sotto nei commenti, mentre aspettiamo che Alex Phillips si colleghi. Mi sembra di vederla, eccola qua.
Hi.
Hi again,
Hi again.
Alex. How are you?
I'm good, yeah, I'm good. I don't know what day it is now, you lose track of the day,
Yeah,
but no, fine, yeah.
yeah. Are you working from home, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
as usual, but we can go out a little more now. So I went out this morning and it's really beautiful. It's really green and there's still not many people, so it's quite quiet. But now the cars are starting, so, it's changing. Things are
Yeah,
sort of
I
going back
know.
to normal, but it's very green. It's very, very green, which is unusual for Barcelona. So, yeah.
Yeah, the spring
The
is,
spring, yeah.
yeah, blowing. Yeah. So, first of all, I want to introduce you to our followers. Let's say followers, readers, whatever. So Alex Phillips is a long time Speak Up writer and proofreader. When did you start working for
A
Speak Up?
while ago. I mean, I started around 10 years ago, but at the beginning I wasn't employed as a writer. I wrote for other magazines, and then I was employed as like a kind of coordinator or like an editor, they call it in English, but it's more a corrector. So I received a lot of material and I just checked it through and coordinated with other writers, that a little bit of everything. But the writing came later.
Yeah. But Alex is from Newcastle in the north of England, and she studied at the University of Sussex. She studied history.
Yeah, I went from the north to the south. A big change, actually, in England. There's a big difference. And then from there, I got cold. It wasn't warm enough for me. So I moved abroad a long time ago.
Yeah, you lived in different countries.
Yeah. I did the thing that everybody did then. I don't know if it's the same now, but I taught English. There was a very short course for 1 month, like a TEFL course. With this qualification at Waltham, you can go anywhere, and I'm sure it also happened in Italy, and teach English in a school, generally for very little money. It was really fun at the beginning, but it was a lot of hours, and you were like an English assistant. So that's what I did in Greece.
Yeah.
And in Portugal.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun, but if you like kids, it's great. But no, it was fun for the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you moved to Barcelona, but why Barcelona? Why Spain?
Well, you know, I was living in Portugal, and I wanted a change, and I came here and fell in love with the city. I mean, it's a beautiful city. It's you know, had a lot of people from everywhere. And that, for somebody who's, you know, from abroad, it's a great environment, that, and it's unusual still, you know. So like I love the environment, I love the place, and I got lucky. I found work, and you know, that it kept changing, it kept being interesting, and so I stayed. So, you know, I think yeah, it's why people stay, which is the big deal, right? I mean, it's you need a reason to stay. So yeah, so I'm still here, stuck now, but still here. Yeah.
How are you living this lockdown?
Oh, you know, it helps to remind myself that this is a global issue. I mean, everybody is living through this, which is incredible. When, you know, I have family all over the world, and they're in the same situation. Everybody is indoors. So now the concept of distance has become, you know, a bit, you know, different. Somebody can live in a city next, very close to you, and you have the same experience as somebody living across the world. I mean, this is technology, and this is also that, you know, we can't move. We are trapped in our own areas. So yeah, it's hard, but it is, you know, universal. Rich, poor. I mean, the experience is different, but it's, you know, brings us together in a kind of weird, crazy way. But yeah, so yeah.
You're right. And how is the situation now in the UK?
I think it's similar to here. I mean, I don't know if people have seen pictures. They acted very late in the UK, and people maybe, I don't know, I think they're taking it seriously, but I think it's now they're taking it seriously. But the English, they like to complain a lot, so and they like to feel free. So a lot of people seem to be out and about a little bit too much, but a lot of people are respecting the rules. But yeah, so the same as everywhere. We have to wait and see what happens. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see if there are questions from our followers. No questions. You can write your questions in the comments so I can read. I can read them. Yeah, anything. But I've got some questions for you. So, well, you said at the beginning you were employed by Speak Up as more as a proofreader, and then your job changed a little bit. So can you tell us about? A lot. A lot.
It changed a lot. Well,
tell us about the evolution.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even an evolution. It was a very sudden shift. I was working for different magazines, and I was working for Speak Up coordinating, looking at other people's texts, and I was learning things. But the magazine itself changed a lot, and we had a new director a few years ago, and it was an important change. I think that mostly because of the concept of the readership. I think before that, it was aimed at children in school, and it was used like a very general, you know, these kind of exercises that you do on a Friday afternoon. Maybe they bring out Speak Up, and it talks about a place in, you know, in England, which is, you know, vocabulary about, you know, the trees and the, you know, very general information, kind of nice if you're kind of, you know, tired. And no, it was very general. It was aimed at young people. And then, you know, we sort of very much behind this, you know, director Ruben, we wanted to do something much more topical and about current affairs, and also understanding that our readership are adults who already know some English, but maybe need something to help them, you know, go to a dinner party and be interesting, for example, or to talk to people around the world about a topic which, you know, affects everybody. So we became much more topical, which made it much more complicated, of course, because we're dealing now with issues, with big issues that affect all of us. So it's not just that, I mean, sometimes we do stuff about a different place or a celebrity, but also we cover things which are, you know, really current affairs. We try and do something about the coronavirus, about technology, which is a difficult subject, but affects all of us. society, we take it seriously and we consider ourselves a serious publication, we're not just marketing. So that really changed my job and I became more of a writer interested in these topics. So I cover, for example,
well, you covered the Democratic primaries.
Yes, I know that was a challenge. Yes, so I enjoyed very much learning about American politics. And I knew a bit about it, but not too much. So I put myself in the position of maybe a reader who didn't know too much, but would like to be informed. And I did a lot of investigating and looking at the internet and even talking to Americans. And, these sort of topics, I think, are because we can watch the news and learn a little bit. But, it gave us a very sort of basic, well, me as well, basic understanding of the process and just how complicated it is. So we feel more connected, to the American world. So that was an interesting, but also authors who've written books about technology and about society and, these sort of things.
Yeah.
Are also interesting to cover for me personally anyway. So
yeah. So what are the topics you enjoy the most writing about?
Well, I love just to be thrown something that I never wrote about. But I did very much enjoy the Democratic primaries, but also, art topics I also really like because they do, even though they seem like it's something to look at in a gallery, they always connect us with who we are as human beings. And, they give us a perspective on different people. And it's also something beautiful that we need to, I think now a lot of us are really feeling the need for culture because it's been taken away from us a little bit, that we can't go to the theatre, we can't go and see art. So these are also very fundamental things that are important to us as human beings. And that, of course, I like to talk about just to kind of inspire people to go and see it. It's an article is something you can read, but also to get people out there. It's a magazine about speaking as well, it's not just about reading and so again, just to get people together, so at the moment we have limitations, but maybe later on. So these topics are great. So there was something, what else did I do? I can't remember. Few recent articles on music, for example, I find very interesting. These will be published in the next few months. So based on, I think, interviews that Valentina did, in fact, based on Sonar interviews and different, musical, because music is another cultural thing that's having problems at the moment. These are all topics that I think would interest the readership, I think. So that was enjoyable as well. Yeah.
And do you remember an article that was particularly difficult, challenging for you?
I find that sometimes it's just a practical issue. The short ones for me are really challenging because you have so much information and knowing what to include and what to leave out. So the easy English ones, even though they seem very simplistic, sometimes are the most challenging. Let me think. A really challenging one. Well, I think ones as well, like Psycho. I did something on Psycho, which is the famous Hitchcock movie. And even it seems very simplistic. There's a million things you can say that everybody's heard of, but to watch the film again and to evaluate it yourself and then to find an angle on it, and then to cut that word count to 350 words, it's a big challenge. And I think the easier ones can be the interviews. So, because you have somebody else's specialism and you just kind of, summarize it, but you rely on somebody else's opinion, which is actually easier. So these ones the short ones I find challenging,
Yeah, me too. We've got a question from Connor. Hi, Connor. He's using his daughter's account. So he said, you have a family around the world, you said. What are their experiences of the lockdown?
Oh, I was just talking to my cousin who was with his new baby and his wife in Cairo. And, well, they were complaining of the same things that I think many people are complaining about, that nobody is respecting the rules. In Egypt, people are a little bit, they can't respect the rules. They live on top of each other. It's a very difficult situation. So they were saying yesterday that, you know, a car passed by, the 7 guys in it, nobody's wearing masks. They've now introduced a curfew overnight, but of course everybody is out in the day. So, I mean, it's a difficult situation. And then another cousin was writing on the same group chat, and she's in, she's in Malaga, but she has family in Toronto. And there's pictures of people sitting in parks, you know, all together, you know. So interestingly, you know, as much in Egypt and in Canada, I mean, you would have thought the Canadians were more responsible. No, they're out. They're out. People are finding it very difficult to accept the situation. Some people because of their economic situation, and some people because they're used to freedom. I don't know. Let's hope we get a vaccine soon. So,
hopefully,
yeah.
I know. Guys, more questions for Alex? Let me see if I got more. Yeah, you said, well, you talked about the challenges of writing short texts. So that's the worst part for me to sum up everything, a lot of information in a few lines.
This is really what journalism is. I think it's, you know, maybe 50% writing and then 50% editing, or sometimes 70% editing. What to leave out? You know, we like to.
And also the language. How do you choose the language? Because you have to adapt to different levels. Because we have from A to sorry.
This is very true, and I rely on colleagues as well, because I'm English. Maybe I would put like phrases which are more difficult. I mean, you know, I speak Spanish, but at the same time, knowing how to write in a way which is accessible without being patronizing. You know, I mean, we're not talking to children here, so that is also a challenge. I think it's just experience, and then relying on colleagues. Other people look at my work, which is, you know, fantastic. It doesn't happen, you know, all the time, you know, but that's a real help. So
Another one. In the years you've been living abroad, have you noticed if Spanish people have improved their English? If so, how much do you think is it thanks to Speak Up?
I think younger people.
Well, Spanish and Italian.
I think younger people speak English now really well, much better. You know, there's a certain, you know, kind of university level. Their English has improved like 1,000 times. I don't know if this has come down to teaching or TV. I think it might come down to TV, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
But when I first arrived, my goodness, I was surprised, because the rest of Europe, people's English is fluent. I mean, better than the English, you know. So yes, definitely it's improved. I don't know with very little kids. I mean, you know, I don't know the school levels and things like that. But university level, brilliant. And, you know, also their awareness of the world. It's become much more homogenized, Europe, you know, with, you know, and I think they probably make contact with people from abroad. So, so definitely improvements, which is great, you know.
It is, Can you save the live? Yeah, sure. We will save it. So you can watch it later.
Lucky you, keep it.
Sure. No more questions. Would you like to add anything about, I don't know, what you do every day for Speak Up?
It's great that we interact more. I mean, you know, this is the whole aim of the publication, is to interact with our readership, and, you know, for them to interact with each other. And, you know, in person as well as over technology, but we have to wait a little bit of time for that.
Yeah,
and
few weeks.
Yeah, we love that. We love that stuff. You know, contact with our readership is very important, you know, because nobody's in isolation. So yeah, suggestions for articles, that would help me a lot.
Sure. So
Please.
guys, if you have suggestions, write them over here.
Yeah, great interviews. Yeah, yes, please. Ideas are wonderful. So
Sure.
yeah.
We're always open to suggestions. Yeah. So if we don't have any other questions, I think we can stop the live.
Okay.
Marco says, very useful to listen you to improve my listening comprehension.
I hope
Great.
I speak clearly. Yeah.
You did, yeah. So another one. You said you were born in Newcastle, but studied in the south of England. Can you summarize cultural differences between the north and the south of England?
Without being rude.
Wow.
Well, I found the south. I went to university, which I didn't expect. It was full of people whose parents, worked for the BBC and very important institutions, and I found it very intimidating. The north is much more humble. A lot's changed, but there was always a big north-south divide. The north was traditionally poorer, and people were more humble. They were more working class, and the south was much more fashionable. But I went to a university near Brighton, where at that time a lot of very fashionable people went to study, and it was it was a big change. But it's I think with life, the best thing to do is put yourself in situations where you're meeting the maximum number of people, types of people, even though it's difficult. I think it's really important, so for me it was an education in itself. But yeah, these are just a few of the I think it happens in every country, very different regional varieties, but England, north, south is huge. Newcastle's near Scotland, so yeah. I don't have the accent, by the way, just in case you were expecting.
Yeah, you don't have, yeah.
It disappeared, so.
Yeah. One person, Stare24, says, maybe you could talk about dialects in the UK. I'm really enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. Really different. I never realized how different they are. But the Newcastle accent, I'll try and put on one now. You talk a little bit like this. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like it can be so strong that people from the rest of the country don't understand it. But that's very different to an accent, say, from Liverpool, which is across the country, but not that far away. And it's really different from a Scottish accent, which has its own rhythm and its own way of talking. And I remember there used to be some very popular TV shows from Scotland, which they said nobody could understand from the south of England. Literally they couldn't understand what they said. They're that specific. So and it's interesting. In Newcastle, for example, there are certain words. The word for child, for example, the slang word is bairn, and that word apparently comes from Denmark. So there's obviously a kind of Viking connection there. So in the end, like, England is an island. So a lot of these accents come from different places. So yeah.
Last question. In what way do you use pick up in your class? Well, you don't teach now, so
me, no,
you don't use pick up, but many teachers.
Can I just say, teaching is an incredibly difficult job, and I am amazed that teachers can do it. It's really hard work and it's really creative. I did it for a while. It's tough, So yeah,
it is. Yeah, but I mean, teachers can use pick up for different exercise. Yeah.
It's
sure.
good. I mean, it's there to generate debate as well, to talk about issues that everybody needs to talk about, because outside of school, these are the issues that people are talking about. So talk about them in English. Why not? So yeah.
Yeah, sure. And also we have the Work It Out, which is this little book with exercises. So yeah, teachers can use it for exercises for the students. So yeah. A Cockney accent article was issued, and that was dramatically gripping, even though that was leveled A2.
Yes,
One says.
it was gripping. Can I say I learn a lot from our articles, by the way? I mean, this is part of the reason I love the job is, you know, I learn so much, you know, from even the basic ones. You know, it's always really interesting to look at these subjects. And Cockney accent, I don't know much about it, but yeah, I learned from that too.
Yeah. Then Connor says, as an English teacher, I have subscribed to the free website TED Ed during this confinement. They send daily videos aimed at American kids and young adults. That's good.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
TED's
There are-
great. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it is. There are subtitles and even a brief lesson plan. There are 4 different levels. Great. Yes, so many things online during this confinement. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question. I'm very curious about the CD recording. How do you do it? And who are the speakers? Can you tell us a bit about the process? That's another thing you do every month.
Yeah, it's been complicated because we've had to do it remotely. Everybody, and we were very lucky because we use 3 voice actors, and we use a kind of a guy who coordinates it, like a studio engineer, I think his position title is. And usually we go to this very professional studio, which luckily isn't too far from our office, and called Mute. And we go down there, and they have a soundproof box where they put the speaker. And the speaker reads their texts, and I go along with them and I coordinate it. And, you know, we have a great time, actually. It's very, you know, it's intense, but we do the whole recording there. And these are professional voice actors, which seems easy, but is not. It took a long time finding them, and they work for, and, you know, their time is precious. And so we appreciate, you know, their input, because they do a lot of stuff. They do, you know, from reading out, like, you know, various things for documentaries, for example, to exhibitions. And each is very different. And we go one at a time, and they read our texts for us. But at the moment, we have to do it remotely. So everybody's in their separate houses, I think, for a couple of editions. And they had their own studios in their houses because, luckily, so they could keep their work going. And we did it all remotely, which was complicated in the sense that the connections between us were difficult. Skype isn't very good. We used a different system, but it was a little harder to read. But we managed it. They were very professional, very calm. And yeah, it went really well. We managed to adapt very quickly. But thanks to Manu, who is the guy who coordinates everything. But yeah, it's a lengthy process. But it's, you know, we think it's an important part of the magazine. So
it is.
Yeah, to have a clear voice reading our reports. So yeah. And the interviews are original. The interviews aren't with actors. They're at the actual person talking, which is you know, it's great to have that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you enjoy this part of your job?
The recording.
The recording.
I love the recording.
Supervising the recording.
I love the recording. It's really, yeah, I really like it because it's like really kind of dynamic and working with other people. I prefer to be there because, you know, when you're home, it's like, you know, if one thing I appreciate now is that technology is fantastic and it allows us to do so much, but it is not enough. You can say, okay, you're a techno-utopian, but it's not like a working environment with people. It's nowhere near that. And talking to my parents, you know, on you know, through my iPhone is not the same as being in person. I hope more people can appreciate that. The technology is, you know, it suggests it's the best thing in the world, and it is, but it isn't. Has its limitations, you know. So yeah, I love that part. Yeah.
Good. So Stas says, sometimes I turn on the speaker to listen to recordings of articles. I try to listen just once and take notes and make summaries. Wow, nice job. I guess 80% of dual stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Well done.
Wow.
You know,
Well done.
when I listen to podcasts in English, which I love, often I have to go back and listen again because I lose concentration. Completely natural. So if you can do that and you're not native,
That's
applaud you.
great.
That's amazing. Yeah, you have a great brain.
Yeah. So, yeah, no more questions. Alex, thank you so much for your time. I hope to see you in person soon, very soon.
In months. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. Well, it's been a bit. But yeah, no, thank you for everybody's time. And
yeah, last question. Sorry. Please, can you recommend any English-speaking media for people learning English? Apart from
Speak Up, which is the perfection of I don't know. I mean, I love podcasts. I think podcasts are fantastic to practice, but you have to be easy on yourself because they can go very fast and they can be very natural. So it's, Netflix.
Yeah.
Don't go for the dubbing. Don't go for dubbing. Go for original in English kind of thing. But I think the best thing is to talk to people as well. This is what people always lack. It's a way of doing everything all in one. Even if it's a boring, silly conversation, I think this is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Phone someone.
Write a letter.
Write a letter. Yeah, send a letter. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you again, Alex, and stay safe. And see you soon.
Yeah. Take care. Take care, everybody. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Scusate, eccoci. E quindi abbiamo finito questa diretta con Alex Phillips. Spero vi sia piaciuta. Grazie per le vostre domande. Ovviamente la salveremo qui su Instagram, quindi potrete rivederla in qualsiasi momento. Grazie a tutti e see you next time. Bye.